Okie dokie, everybody. What we're going to do is take the ideas from that last lesson, finding area of a polygon, and we're going to extend that to finding surface area of all of our solids. So these are the definitions we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to tell you what a solid is, and the three solids we're going to talk about are prisms, pyramids, and spheres. I'm going to talk about surface area. And then I'm going to give you the formulas to find the surface area of a prism, surface area of a pyramid, and to find the surface area of a sphere. So what is a geometric solid? Simply put, it's any three-dimensional object. So if you look around the room, everything that exists in 3 dimensions in our room, the classroom, is a solid. Solids have length, width, and height. They exist in 3 dimensions. They go front and back, side to side, up and down. Now the solids we are going to talk about in this class are specifically prisms, pyramids, and spheres, as mentioned earlier. Well, what is a prism? A prism is a geometric solid, so it's one of our solids. It's made of, it has 2 congruent end faces called bases, and the lateral faces are parallelograms. So our bases are always going to be parallel and congruent on a prism. For a prism, our base, actually let me change my color here. Boom, boom, boom. Our bases are, it's not necessarily the top and bottom. They are the 2 parallel and congruent faces. These are the bases. And then you can't see it on the bottom, but if we were to extend it. And then our lateral faces are the sides or the edges, and they are always going to be parallelograms, mostly a rectangle. But like you can see here, if we have what we call right prisms, they stand up straight, they're rectangles. And if we have an oblique prism, it's oblique because it leans to the side. And then a prism that has circles for bases has a special name. It is called a cylinder. So that's what a prism is. A pyramid, we are all familiar with pyramids. Pyramids are all over the globe. It's a geometric solid. Now the difference is it only has 1 base. A pyramid has 1 base right here. There's the base. And it comes up to this very tippy top point right there, and that is called the apex. Now, the shape of the base determines what kind of pyramid it is. So if you have a square on the bottom, this would be called a square pyramid. If you have triangles on the bottom, they are a triangular pyramid, a hexagonal pyramid, a pentagonal pyramid. So pyramids are named by the shape of their base. They have 1 base and they come up to a point, and that point is usually called the vertex or the apex, depending on who you're talking to. See, on this one, we call them vertex, and over here, we call it apex. Both names are appropriate. A sphere is a three-dimensional solid that it has every point on the sphere is the same distance from the center, and that center is called the radius. So right here, this distance is my radius. And that point smack dab in the middle is the center. A sphere is basically a round ball. A sphere is a round ball. All right, when we are looking for surface area of these shapes, what the surface area is, it's how much two-dimensional shape, two-dimensional space the outside covers. All righty, so what we are going to do is we're literally going to find the area of the bottom, area of the top. So you can see this is the base. This could be the bottom. This is the top. And then we have our sides. Notice all my sides are rectangles. So we could find the area of each individual shape and then add them all together. That works. It's a bit of a pain, but it works. So we have different formulas to help us out. If I give you any prism, the surface area of the prism, the area of all the shapes that make up this prism, that's going to be 2 triangles and 3 rectangles, can be found by always using this formula. 2 times big B plus big P times little h, where big B is the area of the base. Big B right here is the area of the base. So you're going to find the area of one base. And then you are going to add that to the perimeter of one base. Now it can be the same base or the other base. So P is the perimeter of a base. And then you're going to multiply P by H, where H is the distance between the 2 bases. So any of those can be H. The distance between the bases is called H. So here we have big B, the area of that triangle. In this case, it's a triangle. It's not always a triangle. In blue here, we have P. So P is the perimeter of that triangle. Just because the triangle is our base, it can be any shape. But in this case, it's a triangle. And H is the distance between those bases. Height doesn't always mean standing up. Just so you know, it's going to be the distance between our bases. So we're going to find the area of whatever shape this is. In this case, it's a triangle. It doesn't have to be a triangle. You're going to find the perimeter of the same shape. I could have put the perimeter down here. It's all the same. A cylinder is a prism. I can use that formula that I just said. I can still use surface area equals 2 times the area of the base plus perimeter of the base times the height. That totally works. But a lot of times with cylinders, this is going to be a ton easier. And it's going to be a ton easier because all I need is radius. Radius is the distance from the center to the edge of the circle. I am going to do radius again. And then I am going to use height, which again is the distance between the bases. So I can either use that height or I could use this height. Either one, they both work. They're the same, see? So they're both the same. It doesn't matter which height you use. Well, what if it's not a prism? What if it's a pyramid? Well, the surface of a pyramid is going to be a little different. Because we go in on the sides, we are going to use a slightly different formula. This, by the way, right here is an L. We are saying 1/2 L times P plus B. Where big B again, let's start with the basics, shall we? B is the area of the base. B is the amount of space the base takes up. So in this case, it's a square or a rectangle. For our pyramids, it's mostly going to be a square. And we are going to multiply that by the perimeter of the base. Oops, it helped if I highlight the B. Boom. Perimeter of the base, you are going to add up how far around this shape goes. And then we are going to multiply that by the slant height, L. L is the slant height of that pyramid. This is my slant height. It's the height of one of the triangles on the side, because the sides of a triangle, of a pyramid, are always triangles. So if you find the height of that triangle, that is the slant height. So we can even make a note, slant height. That's the height of a triangle. Well, a cone, I can consider a cone a pyramid, so I can still use the pyramid formula. I can say 1/2 the perimeter of the base times the slant height plus the area of the base. I can use that one. Or a lot of times this one's going to be easier because I'm just going to find the radius. And I'm going to use that twice in this formula. And I'm going to multiply that by the slant height of the cone, which is that length right there. So pay attention. You got to know the shape you're using because you got to identify your formulas and then use the right one. Surface area of a sphere is just going to be 4 times pi r squared. So the only length I need to know for a sphere is its radius, the distance from the center of this sphere to the edge of the sphere. And then sometimes we're going to use hemispheres. A hemisphere is half a sphere. So here's a full sphere. This is half a sphere. So for the hemisphere, we're going to say 3 pi r squared. So again, we're just going to take the radius, that length right there, square it, multiply it by 3 pi, and we are done. Oh, excuse the yawn. Alrighty, so let's put all of our formulas in a handy-dandy spot so we've got them in one place. Now, if we're talking prisms besides cylinders, we are going to say the surface area is 2 times the area of the base plus the perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. For a cylinder, the surface area is going to be 2 pi r squared, because pi r squared is the area of a base, times it by 2, plus 2 pi r, which is the circumference of our circle, which is the perimeter of the circle, times the height of the cylinder. For pyramids, surface area is going to be 1/2 the perimeter of the base times the slant height plus the area of the base. My cone is going to be, I was going to say 1/2. It's going to be pi times radius times slant height plus pi r squared. Because the perimeter of a circle is 2 pi r, so the 2 and the half are going to cancel out, leaving me with pi r times L plus the area of the base. Area of surface area of a sphere is 4 times pi r squared, and for half a sphere, a hemisphere, it's 3 pi r squared. Boom. So if you have any questions, please don't be quiet. Let everybody know. If this was not clear, let your teacher know for further clarifications, and we will see you when we see you, Patriots.